Blessings, 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 everyone. It is I, Dr. David D. King, here with Vested in Milwaukee. And y'all know Vested in Milwaukee is a show that we talk about things that are happening in the city of Milwaukee, around Milwaukee, just to empower people with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And so I'm excited today. I have a good friend of mine that are on the show with me today, and he's going to break down some stuff for you guys, and I'm looking forward to it. Just one announcement tonight, there's kingdom teaching tonight at Latter Rain Divine, 4858 West Fond du Lac Avenue, beginning at 6 p.m. Come on out, learn more about the kingdom of God. You will understand your purpose even more just by coming out and learning more about the kingdom of God. I know a lot of us, we sit in our church and say, it got to be more to God than what we're getting. It got to be more to God than what we're doing. And to be honest, there is a lot more. So join us tonight at Latter Rain Divine, 4858 West Fond du Lac Avenue. We're starting at 6 p.m. tonight. So with further ado, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring a good friend of mine, a wizard when it comes to finance, and he's here to help you, those of us who doesn't understand finance the way we ought to understand finance, is none other, none only than Coach Moore. Come on, give it up for Coach Moore.
Hey, I'm going to give it up for myself. Hey, Pastor, Dr. King, Mayor King, all of the above. Hey,
yes.
Man, I'm excited, man, to be on the show. Thank you for having me, Dr. King. So invested in Milwaukee.
Yes.
Hey, man, we've been invested in Milwaukee for a good while, haven't we, Dr. King?
Oh man, haven't we? We've been really invested in, and you know, I tell people that the ones that really work doesn't have time to be on Facebook showing pictures of the work because we're too busy working.
That's right.
And so we know that our reward comes from God. It doesn't come from somebody giving us a pat on the back. And that's so right. You know, I'm grateful to have you. First of all, you're an hour ahead of me up in Atlanta. I know you enjoying the warm weather up there. And how's the babies? How the babies doing?
Hey man, babies, listen, them babies is getting big. My youngest one now is 4. She just started school. So you know, I have them now from 30 years old to 4. So 10 of them all together. we still have 5 of the 10 still in the house. So they doing well. They doing well. We got 3 in high school now, so they're gonna be out the house very soon, Dr. King. Because I seen a post. They said, "Man, these boys eat. Man, them big boys eat. Do you hear me?"
Oh,
Man, I'm
yes.
talking about. It's either we got groceries or we don't. One or the others. Either we got something in the refrigerator or we don't have nothing in the refrigerator. You feel me, Doc?
Hey, listen, my son is 15, and sometime when we come from practice or something, he'll say, "Daddy, let's stop at Little Caesars." I'll be like, "Okay." So he'll go in Little Caesars, order 2 large pizzas and some crazy bread and some wings, and then look at me and say, "What you want, Daddy?"
Oh no, you see, hey man, they have appetite, man. I promise you. I promise you. I need to
Yes.
get back to teaching classes. You remember I used to teach those water classes. I think I better get back to that so I could be, making that part of the regimen. Okay,
Hey,
fasting.
I think you ought to. I think you ought to get back to that real fast. And so for those who don't know, Coach Moore is a financial genius. He is amazing in what he do when it comes to finance and empowering the people when it comes to finance. So before I start asking questions and getting in, I want him to take this time just to give a little background of who he really is, and then we'll go with some questions. And if you guys got any kind of questions you want to ask when it comes to finance, credit, business credit, you can put them on the screen and I'll put them up and he will answer those as well. So I'm going to give him the time to introduce himself properly.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Invested in Milwaukee show. Great show. I'm originally from Milwaukee, so I'm honored to be here. Thank you again, Dr. King. Born and raised Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'll start with my entrepreneurial quest, right? So at the age of 17, guys, I started cutting hair. I was a barber at the age of 17, and I started having my own barbershops, right? I was an entrepreneur early, and I felt that, hey, I need to have a couple of these barbershops so I can make some more money for me and my family, right? So right at the age of about 21 is when I started having a barbershop, and then I had another barbershop. And what I noticed is that these gentlemen would come in my barbershop, Dr. King, and they would sell merchandise, right? They would sell clothes or TVs or whatever it is they would sell. And we had some people that would come in every few days, like clockwork. And what I noticed is that those gentlemen will come in there and come out in 5 or 10 minutes, and they'll have more money in their pocket than I did. Like they'll make $200-300 just by coming in. And so I said, light bulb popped in my head. I said, you know what? Not just a barbershop, dog. Why don't you have a barbershop and a store? And so I did both. I had the barbershop and the store because I wanted to, get some of the capital that those other people were getting. And so I did that. So now it's a barbershop and a clothing store. I used to be more than just Phase. That was one of my biggest ones on Fond du Lac, 23rd and Fond du Lac for the people that's in Milwaukee that remember that. And so what happened was I hit this glass ceiling. You guys know what a glass ceiling is? I hit it, right? Because I had the barbershop and clothing store, and I was making approximately, it's bringing in about, anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 a week in this establishment. But I wanted to grow. I wanted more money. And, how do we get more money, guys? We go to the bank. We ask the bank for more money. And that's what I did. I went to ask the bank for money, and the bank turned me down. And I thought, hey, I got money coming in. I'm doing good. Why can't I get any money? And that's when I found out about credit, right? I found out that, hey, if you don't have good credit, you really can't get in the game if you want to bust through some of these, glass ceilings. And so I went to the bank to ask the bank for some money. The bank said, no, Darver, your credit scores is about 600, 609. We can't do nothing for you today. Pay these couple collections off, right? And come back and see me. And I did exactly what the banker asked me to do. I paid those collections off. I came back to see the banker, and the banker said, well, Darvin, unfortunately, we still can't give you this loan. your scores are still around the same. And I'm saying, well, you told me to pay these collections off, etc. And what I realized, or what I found out, is that paying collections is not really the right way to go, right? Paying collections does not necessarily raise your credit score. And in a lot of cases, paying off a collection can lower your credit score. So that was one part, misinformation coming from the quote unquote source, right? And so eventually, guys, I did get the loan. Make a long story short, I did get the loan from that same bank. It took me about a year or so, because I had to figure out credit. I had to figure out, well, Darwin, if you want to get through this glass ceiling, right? You're only making so much a week, so much a month. You really ain't gonna be able to get past this unless you get some more money, right? What I realized is that we really can't, build a lot with our money. We need other people's money, or the bank's money. We need more money so that we can make, some good money. So I got the loan. That banker today is my client, guys. That banker is my client still to this day. Call me for advice. We do strategies and build businesses for this banker. And she also refers other clients to me so that we can help them out. Okay. And so that's it. That's my plight when it comes to business. So let me tell you a few more things about me, guys. I've formed personally, single-handedly, over 100 companies. I've managed over 200 companies, right? Managed their profiles, built their credibility, so that they can look good for the banks. Okay, from scratch. Most of those companies we built from scratch, and so that's a lot. I've helped tens of thousands of people build their credit, right? Build their credit to the next level. I've trained banks, I've trained organizations, and Dr. King, if you don't, I'm quite sure you remember this, that I was head trainer. I was training the group that we were in, the Pastors United. You remember that? Where I would come in, bi-weekly or monthly, and kind of, show them some of the things that that they could be potentially teaching their congregation, and things that we were missing out on as a community. And so yeah, that's me, guys. I had over 30 properties at one time, right? I'm down to less than a dozen at this time. And it's not about having a bunch. Let me say that too. It's not about having a bunch. It's about just making sure you can maintain, and that you okay with what you have. So that's me, guys. I'm ready for any questions, Dr. King, or I can start talking about business credit if you guys need some business insight, need anything on financial literacy. I'm ready to answer those questions.
Okay, you can hear me, but for some reason it's not letting me back on the screen. So give me
Okay.
1 second while
Yep, I can hear you well.
I work this out. But what I need to ask you is, for example, mothers.
Mm-hmm. Mothers. You there, Dr. King? I'm not sure if the show is still going, but I'll talk. Dr. King was asking me about mothers. I'm not sure which angle he was going, but we all should be paying attention, right, guys? We should always. I say this, that your credit report is like your bank account, so we should have credit monitoring. So if you don't have credit monitoring, that's a major thing that we should have, because we need to know, right, guys, what's being reported on our credit profiles. That's very important. We need to know what's being reported, and if there's some things on there that's affecting our ability to be able to access capital when we need it, then we need to make sure that we're paying attention to that, and we're correcting those issues that will be preventing us from getting this access in the future. Okay, very important. Yeah. And so credit monitoring, I always recommend a credit site called Identity IQ. And the reason why I recommend Identity IQ is because Identity IQ what they do is they give you all three credit reports and scores. Okay, they give you all three credit reports and scores. And so places like Credit Karma, they only give you a couple of scores. They only give you two scores. And like I said, your credit report is like your bank account. So you want to see all three. You want to see what these people are saying about you. And remember this too, guys, that all negative information can be removed. Okay. Anything on your credit report that you really don't want there or you don't think should be there, then you just need to send a dispute out every 30 days until that's off the report. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Are you back on yet, Dr. King?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh yeah, I can hear you well. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me try something else because I don't know what. Let me.
Yep, I can hear you. I just can't see you. Would you like me to keep talking until you get that going?
For some reason. Okay, you can. Well, let's talk about. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. I can't hear you now, Dr. King, but I was able to hear you a few seconds ago. And maybe if you want, Dr. King, you could type in, right? You can type in what you want me to address because, finances is so vast. There's so many different areas that, I don't know which ones you want me, to zero in on for your audience. I know, me and you earlier, we kind of talked about, businesses or buildings that are in the community. And one of the questions was, if I'm not mistaken, I know it was a few ways. How do we obtain these buildings or what can we do to get access to some of these buildings in our community? And really, I talked to some bankers yesterday. Part of my job, my internal job for myself, is to make sure I talk to a few bankers a week and ask about the different programs and things that they have going. And for some reason, a lot of banks now aren't really liking to lend on commercial properties unless some factors are there. Now, don't get me wrong, all banks aren't created equal. What one bank won't do, the next one will. But with these commercial buildings, some of the things they want you to actually, if you're going to get the commercial building, they want you to be doing business inside that building, for one. They want you to be in business for a couple of years before they even really give you certain monies. So you individuals that know, hey, in the future, I'm going to be, I want to have my own building, my own business with a building. I recommend you form that company, you start that company now for the future, right? Don't wait until the time comes before you start the company, because banks like to see history, which is a very, very important component. Okay, and so, but there are great programs for commercial buildings like SBA. I definitely recommend everybody look at SBA, right? They got the SBA 7 and the SBA 504. And so look into those, because those are products that they will allow you to buy certain commercial buildings with not much money down, right? SBA is normally between 10 to 20% down payment. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Are you able to hear me, Dr. King? Are you back? And also, if you want, Dr. King, you can anytime you want, you can send me a text message and I can zero in on anything that you want me to address. Outside of that, since we live, I'm going to continue to talk. And so let's talk about a little bit of structure, right? We could talk a little bit of structure. And what I mean by that is how do we have the best possible personal and business profiles? Because at the end of the day, guys, the main thing is getting access to capital, right? And then, right, getting access to the money. And then you want to make sure you get access to that money at the least interest rate, right? Because interest rates dictate, right, how much money you make or you don't make. And so I like to consider myself a 0% interest specialist. We say this: if you're paying interest on a credit card, then you don't know how credit works. Okay. And so we shouldn't be paying interest on credit cards, right? Because if you use a credit card and you pay it within 30 days, you shouldn't have any interest. But what happens if you can't pay it in 30 days? Then you should be making sure that you are having a 0% interest credit card at all times, right? And any debts that you have, you should be carrying it on that 0% product. So some people say, well, coach, I only have 0% for 6 months, 10 months, 12 months. How am I going to have 0% in the next year if that's the case? So all you have to do is just think about it, right? Very simple answer. When a 0% product is up, let's call it Capital One. You got a 0% card with Capital One. When that 0% introductory is over with, then what you want to do, you want to go to Wells Fargo and you get their 0% credit card. You transfer the Capital One over to the Wells Fargo. And guess what, guys? Now you have 0%. So let's pay attention and let's not lose money. A lot of times what I see when I look at profiles and I have conversations with clients and they want to be able to have more money, or they don't have enough money to pay all of the bills, or they just need a little extra money. First thing I look to see, have they been doing a great job of making sure that they're not just giving away money? And most people aren't. And that's why we're having this conversation. It's your job to make sure that you have the lowest interest rates at all times. Because if you don't, then you're giving away money haphazardly, right? Almost for free. And so that's something that we don't want to do. So that's important. Also, what else is important is, and so that's something that we don't want to do. So that's important. Also, what else is important is, and so that's something that we don't want to do. So that's important. Also, what else is important?
Okay. All right. My whole thing went out, but it kept you going, and I appreciate you keep going. I'm back now. Hopefully there is a question for you up here. There you go.
Okay. It says, hey, question. Can you go over one of those spas? What's a spa? You mean just like a health spa? I don't understand that question.
Yeah. So maybe he'll bring it back and add on to it. But I am so glad that man, you kept going. I don't know what happened with my whole system went just totally out. And so, but now that we're back, what I wanted to talk about to you is how, and I don't know if you addressed it while I was putting it in, was how parents can set their kids up for success from a younger age by putting them on their credit card. So when they do turn, 18, like for my daughter, she did it for my granddaughter. And when my granddaughter turned 18, she had a credit score of 750, 760. And so,
right.
if you would touch on that, that'll be great.
Awesome. Yeah. And so let me say it this way, guys. When my son was 20 years old, he had access to over $200,000 in available credit in his personal and business name, so he can build something for his future. And how did he do that? He did that because I put him on my credit cards as an authorized user at a young age. Okay. I actually put him on my credit cards when he was 17. Okay. And so what Dr. King is referring to is, it's our responsibility to boost our children's credit profile so that when they turn 18, they can get some access. Now, when you put them on a credit card, that doesn't mean that they get access to the credit card. You just put them on the credit card so that it helps build their credit. Okay. And so you could put a kid on a credit card. Some banks are different, but 13, 14, 15 years old. Now, let me say this. They won't have a credit report or credit profile until they get 18. Nobody can get a credit report, an actual physical report, until they turn 18. Okay. So you can start early with building their credit, but just make sure when they hit that 18, if you got a credit card that you're always, on time with, that was never late, that don't have such a big limit in reference to the balance, right? I'm sorry, a big balance in reference to the limit. Then what you should do is you should add that child to the credit card. So at 18 years old, an 18-year-old can have a 750 to 800 credit score just by you adding them on 2 or 3 of your credit cards that have great history to it. Now, they're still 18, they have a great score. They can't go get $1 million because they're so young, but they have a great profile, which helps them get to the next level of the game a lot faster. And so I think that that's our responsibility as a parent to do that. I sometimes I get parents to say, well, they so young, they don't need it, they gonna mess it up. And so I say this to them, they deserve a shot. Let them mess it up now so they know what it looks like later, right? When you were young, you had chances and shots. Maybe this young man is going to be the one that's going to take things to the next level. They have to start early so they understand how this thing works.
Yes. Yes. And let's go back to, you was talking about the business for a second, because and getting their business credit so they can purchase buildings and stuff like that. I help a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, and I help them get them out there. I market them, I do their logos and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they make the biggest mistake ever. They use their social security number instead of going and getting set up and having an EIN number, a DUNS number. So they use their own social security, their own personal credit, and now they tied that into the business. And for example, there was one young man who owed child support, and he used his social security number on his business, and all of a sudden they became a lien on his business.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And so guys, let me say it this way. Like Dr. King is saying is that when it comes to credit, business credit, you get a tax ID number, right? Which separates yourself, your personal self, from the business, because it's really two separate entities. Okay. It's two separate entities. So make sure when you're building business credit that you focus on doing most of the applications or your building with using your EIN number so you can build that structure. Now, I want to say this too, because in the last few years, 2 to 3 years, the times have changed a little. Meaning that when it comes to cash, because a lot of people have misconceptions about how this goes. When it comes to getting cash money, when it comes to getting lines of credit and business loans, in a lot of cases now, Dr. King, they are asking you for your social security number. Okay. They're asking you for this social security number so that you could guarantee this money that they're giving out. So a lot of them are doing this. But I understand your point, Dr. King. In some cases, we're not trying to have this on our personal side. We want it in the business. And so we have to be mindful. Like I said, all banks aren't created equal. Let me give you an example. Capital One, most of their credit cards, except for one, don't quote me, I think it's the Spark card, is the only card. If you get a business card with Capital One, they're going to put it on your personal credit report, which means it affects your overall utilization and everything on your personal side. But if you get a business card with Wells Fargo, that only is showing up on your business credit report. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do, we need to be mindful about how the pieces move. Okay, how the pieces move. And so yes, we need to be mindful about separating the two, the personal and the business. But I just wanted to make sure for the record that we know, because I have people go into the bank and say, hey, I'm not giving you my social, I'm just going to give you my tax ID number. And they actually didn't get the loan because the bank needed that to verify them, and also needed it to just make sure that they didn't have any judgments or certain things on their personal profile. So the banks are looking more in that area. The only time that they don't look in that area, okay, I'll give you some examples of when they don't really look at the social security number. If your business is making, over $1 million a year, and you can show that through your bank statements, then they don't require you to personally guarantee. You have some what's called fintech banks, like you have Divvy, Capital on Tap, right? Topago. Those are companies that give you money just based off what's coming in and out your bank account. So if you got a business, you got money going through there and you don't want to personally guarantee that money, then you can call one of those, they really, to me, they're more like merchant cash advance companies, right? Because they charge more money, right? They'll charge you more money, but they don't need to see your personal information. And they'll give you a loan based off of, how much money you had coming into the bank account in the last 3 months. Personally, guys, as a coach and strategist, I don't like that kind of money because the interest rates are higher, right? And, how much we pay for money is going to be based on scores. And when we just try to go only using the business, they charge a little bit more money. So depending on what the overall strategy is, and that's why sometimes, Dr. King, I like to sit down and figure out what it is that my client is looking to accomplish, right? Because sometimes we want to make more money, or this might not be the right loan for you to make more money because all the money is going towards this loan, right? They're charging you 15, 20, 25%. On the business side, man, they really rough when you're getting business, certain business products and certain business loans. When they feel like we're desperate, they're going to knock us upside our head. So we have to be mindful about that, and we have to prepare ahead of time, right? U.S. Bank has a pretty good SBA-backed loan where, don't quote me, interest rates change, but right at around 8% on the business side. And that's one of the best that I've seen on the business side. So yeah, I hope I did well enough to answer that for you, Dr. King.
Well, you really did. And so to sum it up for everybody that's out there that's trying to do both, clean up both profiles. Clean up your personal credit score. Get the things. I love the way you always, from day one, everything can come off your credit score. So don't even think about it. Cannot come off. Since you educated me and empowered me, and I've been empowering people, the funniest thing that I'm finding out when it comes to people in their credit or even starting a business in their credit is the L word. They're lazy.
Yeah.
You tell them every 30 days, do this every 30 days, right? And they're too lazy to do it every 30 days. And so my advice to a lot of people that's trying to build is you got to become self-disciplined. If you really want something, you got to become self-disciplined, and you got to really want it. The information is out there. The information is the paperwork. If they call Coach Moore, he got the paperwork to show you how to get your credit together. You still doing the plans and the books and everything that you got to share with the people, right? That they can call you up and get what they need to And so those are the things that they need a coach. And I'm learning now that, I saw all these people, excuse me, all these people that's becoming coaches, right? And they found the secret. And the secret is somebody got to motivate these people just to get everyday things right. So the business of a coach done went to a whole new level because everybody need a motivational coach because they want to be motivated into having a good life. Why do you got to be motivated to want to be a provider for your family? Why do you got to have somebody motivate you to run your business? I mean, I'm a business coach and a consultant, right? And I have to, when I consult somebody, I say, okay, this is what you might need to do. You ain't got to do it because I'm just your consultant. But when I'm the coach, I got to go in and say, no, this is what you got to do. And it seems like the coaching is going better than the consulting going because they need somebody to stay on them to do the right thing. Yeah. And so why don't you give your info?
No, that's it.
Why don't you give people your info?
Okay. So my info, one of my websites is globalcredithelp.com. But anybody on the show today that's listening in, what I would like to do is just give you a absolutely free one-on-one session on what you need to do to get to the next level. And if that's something that you want, you can go ahead and text the word invested in Milwaukee. Okay. I want you to text the word invested in Milwaukee to 414-348-5144. One more time to get a one-on-one consultation of what you need to do to get to the next level. I want you to text the words invested in Milwaukee to 414-348-5144. And yes, Dr. King, the coaching is people need to be motivated. My name is Darvin Moore, but my new name for the last 2.5 years has been Coach Darvin Moore. When somebody asks me my name, I say coach first because I need them to understand that I'm not here to play around. I'm here to coach, and a coach gives you what you need to do. And so that's a great point you made there, Dr. King, that you see that. And last year, a year and a half ago, I started a program called the Coach's Circle. Okay. And it's an accountability program. What I realized with coaching tens of thousands of people, because I have a group on Facebook with about 16,000 members called Team Credit the Blueprint. So what I realized is that, and then in my messenger, they message me every day, hundreds of messages, and I say, I keep repeating things. People aren't getting these things done. Yeah, they need to be motivated. They need accountability as well, and they need a schedule. Right? They need a schedule, Dr. King. I tell people now even just for the personal credit, everything can come off. Send a letter every 30 days. Put it on your phone. Put it on your phone every 30 days until your credit is clean on your calendar. Say, I need to send this letter off this day. I need 30 days from there, the letter need to go in the mail. Listen, we need to get it, guys. We need to get it. Wake up. Okay. Anything can come off the credit report. You can get to the next level. Let's go when you're ready. Right, Dr. King?
You're absolutely right. And for everybody that's watching, if you want that free one-on-one, you got to text invested in Milwaukee to the number that we have on the screen. If you text him, then you'll get the free consultation. But I want to say to you guys that here's the thing. And our good friend Jason Fields always said this: either you at the table or you on the menu. And we got to get off that menu, guys, and we have to get at the table. And the thing about it is you got all of these people now understanding I can't get rich working a 9-to-5. I can't. And that 9-to-5 is not going to guarantee me that it's going to be there when I'm retired, right? So what am I going to do to secure my and my family's security financially? What am I going to do? And if I'm going to be an entrepreneur, then I need to know how to start off right. I don't need, why not deal with people who have already been there? Why not deal with people who already know the ins and outs, the loopholes? Don't do this, and become successful instead of spending 3 to 5 years of your life in a failure situation and then you give up. And I've been knowing Coach for a long time, and he's been at my church teaching financial literacy. He has blessed us numerous of times, and every chance I call him up, and we don't talk every day or nothing, but when I call him up, he was like, "What you doing? What you got going?" And so now I didn't know he was going to do this when he said, "If y'all text in invested in Milwaukee, I'm giving you a free one-on-one some time. I'm giving you my time." I like to do it that way because the most precious and valuable thing we have is our time. And he's saying, I am going to give you that time so you can know how to get started, where to look, what to do, what not to do. Don't go starting a business and then go try to buy a car the next day. We got to learn these things that we're learning. So I want to ask, when it comes to, because I know a lot of people are now going into Airbnb, okay? You see them buy a house, they're going straight into Airbnb. A lot of them is going into, what is it, Toror? Is that what the ones that they're renting their cars out? Yeah. So for those people that's going in industries, in those industries, what would you say to someone that wants to get into Airbnb and the other one?
That's a great question, Dr. King. I have at least a dozen people in those industries, either Airbnb and Turu, or in the rental car industry. And so people that's getting into those industries, one thing I would say, and this is almost primarily in all industries, but specifically these industries, is make sure that you have enough reserves. Make sure that you have enough capital before just jumping into the industry. Because what I've been seeing is a lot of times people, they exhaust all of their money and now they're in the business, but they exhausted all their money and now the business can't grow in this proper way. And they get kind of stuck, right? And so Airbnb can be looked at two ways, right? Airbnb can be looked at as, from a lack of better words, an arbitrage way, meaning that you don't have to buy the property. You can rent the property out, right? And still do Airbnb. Because sometimes people call me, they want to do Airbnb, but then they say, well, I have to get in a position to be able to buy a property first. And that's not necessarily the case. So, but either way that you go, I want to make sure that you have enough capital to carry on. If you want to expand, or if something happens that, that you need some more capital, that you have it. So that would be my major thing, is just making sure that you have enough, which goes back to this: have a plan. Okay. The major thing that most people aren't doing, Dr. King, is having a plan, because the plan is going to help. It's going to direct the whole path. Most of us in business are walking blindly. Hey, I want to do real estate. Okay, I want to sell properties. My question is, okay, well, how many properties you want to sell this year and in the next year? How much money do you want to make off selling properties? Because this will help you look at the overall goal. I had a couple guys say, I don't know. I want to buy some properties and sell them. Okay, well, how much the property's going to cost? I don't know, about 60,000, 70,000. I'm going to put about 50 in it. Guys, have a plan, have a direct plan, and you can adjust the plan as you go, but at least you know where you're going. And the other thing I want to say, Dr. King, is let's think bigger. Okay. A lot of times, guys, we think so small that we done thought ourselves out the game, right? I had a cousin, and me and him were in business, not together, but we had a business in the same building. I sold clothes and had a barbershop where I was bringing in 5 to 10K a week because that's what I decided to do. He decided, because he was so happy and he wanted to be in business, he decided, guys, to sell penny candy. So I'm bringing in 5 to 10K a week, counting my money at the register, weekly, making sure, checking it out. And he's counting a whole bunch of coins at the end of the week. He don't even have enough to pay the bills. Why did he choose penny candy? He liked sweets. He thought it was a good thing for the kids, but he couldn't pay the bills. So let's have a plan, guys. Let's have a plan of what we want to do and how we want to do it. And Dr. King, you said something about getting advice from the right people first. And so Dr. King is 100% right. Listen, guys, you can mess yourself up by making the wrong move. I used to teach, when I first started teaching financial literacy, I was teaching this, that secure credit cards is an elementary approach to credit building. You remember that, Dr. King? I told all people, hey, y'all stay away from them secure cards. Today, we have thousands of coaches and teachers telling you to go and get a secure card. Because, see, remember with me, I'm looking at a year from now. What you going to be doing in a year from now? I'm just looking about today. A secure card is only about today. It's only about what you're going to be, what the scores is going to raise up for today or the next 2 or 3 months. What about 6 months from now, next year? You're going to have a low limit card on your credit report for $500, $1,000, but you want to go buy that building. You want a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 credit card. A bank not going to give you that if you're in a low game. So secure credit cards, guys, is not the right approach. Okay. Also being added. I just want to give you a couple nuggets so that you know having the right coach will help you. Paying off a collection is not going to necessarily help your score. That may not be the right strategic move.
Can you stop right there for a second?
Yeah.
Can you stop right there for a second? And the reason I want you to stop right there for a second, because you got all of these people in the game now talking about fixing people credit, telling them go pay this and go pay that and go pay this and go pay that. And then they charge them an extra $500 to $1,000 for everything they get off their credit. So I need you to touch on that right quick, because people are robbing these folks. And because people don't, I wrote a book called Why It's Important to Stay in the Middle from a Kingdom Perspective. And one quote in that book is by James Madison that says, knowledge will always govern ignorance. And so when the people are ignorant, they're getting robbed, right? I'm going to charge you $500 for every thing I take off your credit, right? So I'm going to charge you $500 to $1,000 for everyone I take off your credit. Now go pay this, and go pay this. I need you to address that, because that's one of the biggest hindrance of the community.
Okay. All right, guys. So first off, collections and charge-offs, I don't recommend that you pay those if it's already in that status. I recommend you dispute those until it come off. You need to have a plan, okay, of what you're going to do. But the plan is never to go off and start paying collections right away. Now, you can dispute yourself every 30 days to get things off the report. Okay, if you want to hire somebody, because some people don't do it, you need to make sure that those companies are sending out dispute letters every 30 days and that they're disputing everything that's negative on the credit report so that you can reach the goal. See, a lot of times the consumer don't even know what they want. The consumer, sometimes you guys say, hey, well, I just want a 700 credit score. Why? Right? So that's one thing. Okay, guys, another thing is when you're adding positive things to the credit report, I talked about those secure credit cards, adding those to the report. You really are, you can add authorized users, that like we talked about with my son. That's going to do much better than a new account, right? Because an authorized user gives you age. It gives you history, okay? That's what you need to put on a credit report. But like I said, what is the goal? Now, another thing about credit repair companies, like I said, make sure they're disputing everything. Make sure as well that, that I don't like the monthly, like $100 a month, $150 a month, unless they are disputing everything. Because what I've learned is sometimes what they'll do is they'll skip a month and still make you pay, or they may not dispute everything to kind of, work you over for the whole, for years, right? So be in control, make sure that you're following up, and make sure that at least that those letters are getting out. But like Dr. King said, we need to be great stewards of our money. I'm an advocate for delegation. Don't get me wrong. Find the right person that can help you and move forward, but you need to be in control and watching what's happening in the money. Because like Dr. King said, they can easily say, hey, pay this, pay that, give me 500. No way. And let me say this too, guys. Like if you decide to pay a collection or charge off, then what I want you to do is understand that you can pay that a lot less. You can pay a third or less of what it really is. Okay. And then in addition to that, if you're in a place where you feel like I got to pay this, I'm finna pay this, then let them know that you want that removed off your credit report if you pay it, because most of the time they'll do it. Okay. But like I said, I don't recommend that you go off paying any collections or credit cards unless you have the full strategy of what you're going to do so you can get to that goal that you're trying to accomplish. Because I have many people, when they get that tax money, Dr. King, they $4,000 or $5,000 they pay on these collections thinking that, hey, my score is going to get up and I'm good. So you wasted all your tax money and you still can't go to the bank. So let's be more strategic, guys.
And also, I need you to talk about collection. And what I mean by that is when somebody sell your note, when someone sells your note and the person that's calling you is not the person you got the loan or the bill from.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, we know that we in what's called contract law. So if Dr. King opened an account with Capital One, and for some reason he couldn't pay his credit card, Capital One don't have the right to sell his personal information to ABC Collection Company. Dr. King don't have a contract with ABC Collection Company. He don't know who those people are. So how is it that ABC Collection got Dr. King social security number, his date of birth, all his information? I don't get that. So let's look at it from a more simple standpoint. If Dr. King owed me $100 and he didn't pay me, and if I sent my cousin to Dr. King's house and he said, hey, Dr. King, you owe DARIN $100. Now, this is a passion doctor, so he ain't going to talk too crazy, but I know he going to tell that person, if you don't get yourself away from over here at my door, we going to have a problem. So why is it that we don't have that same type of attitude with a collection agency, which we really legally or lawfully don't even owe money? We only owe money if we agree or we say we owe money. So let me give you some here. And you guys watched Judge O'Brien and Judge Judy before, right? What do they always say? Where's the signature? If you don't have a signature, you don't have a contract. None of you guys have a contract with a collection agency. Not one of you, unless you agree. Okay. So if a collection agency ever call your home, this is what I want you to say. Sir or ma'am, never call my home again. Anything you need to say to me, send it in writing to the address that you have on file. And when you say that, guys, they won't call you again. Okay. It's a law that states if they call you again, they owe you $1,000. Okay. So they're never to call you again. So be leery of collections, guys. Just start understanding more about finances, because these people are here to extract your money, which takes away from our family ultimately.
Awesome. So let's see. I ain't gonna take too much of your time but this is good. So here's a scenario. I'm a new entrepreneur. Just started my business. I got my paperwork in order, got my articles, I got my EIN. I'm starting my business. What would be the first thing for me to start building business credit?
Okay, that's a great question. Now, first I want to say this. Depending on the industry and what the goal is, because it's always the goal, right? Yes. For example, if we're talking about someone that's in Turu, like you just mentioned, right? Then it would be go to these places to start building your profile. So let me go more broad. If somebody anybody starts a business, the first thing that they need to be doing is building their business profile, right? With the major business bureaus, which is the major three are Dun & Bradstreet, Corporate Experian, and Business Equifax. Of course, we got SBFE, which is the Small Business Financial Exchange. So for you individuals that's looking towards getting something from SBA, which I recommend because the rates are lower and the terms are longer. So SBA should always be in part of our plan. Okay. So that's the goal, to have accounts with those businesses, with those credit bureaus, and to do business with companies that report your activity to those places, right? Because when you go do an application for credit, the banks look at your business credit report and they take a soft look at your personal credit report. Remember, we talked about that. So this is why you want to have things reporting to the business profile. So when I was saying it depends on the business in reference to where you go to get these relationships with these vendors that report. So if you got a trucking business, what I normally say is, hey, well, here are 3 places you can go for gas, because that truck gonna need some gas, get up and down that road. That truck gonna need some maintenance to get up and down the road. So normally with a trucking company, I put together initially at least 3 places you're gonna go for gas, right? A to B gas, okay? You're going to go to a fleet core, which is like a fuel man, right? And then you may go to a BP, okay? So those are 3 that I'm going to automatically have for the trucking company, and also for a company like a Turu, okay? And then maybe something like NAV. NAV is very important. That's the first step too, Dr. King. For people that you talk to that's in business, get your NAV report. That's your business credit report, okay? They're going to show you all 3, but it's $50 a month. But they show you all 3 of your business credit reports and scores. But also what they do is they report your payment, that $50 payment, to those reporting agencies, which is good for you. Okay, that's NAV, that's NAV.com. Okay, and so that's the goal. I think that, as a base, we should say, how can we have at least 5 companies? That's my challenge for you guys, to have 5 companies reporting to each one of those business credit bureaus, okay? Which is some gas cards. Can I give them a couple of more, Dr. King?
Go right ahead, sir. Go right ahead.
Okay, so NAV.com is going to be very important. Also, Experian has a business report that they'll show you, and it's $189 for the whole year, and they'll actually report as well, okay? So one thing about me is I don't like to spend unnecessary money. And a lot of the coaches and people that's talking about building business credit, they know a lot of places. They got, hundreds of places, thousands of places that give you credit. But we need to make sure we're doing it where we're not spending unnecessary money, and it's focused on what our industry is and what our goal is, okay? So once again, guys, nav.com, Experian.com, you got fuelman.com, you have A to B gas, right? And the regular ones we always talk about, quill.com, granger.com, right, guys? Ecredible.com. All of these places can help you build your profile. And most of these places that I mentioned is automatic. You don't have to make sure that, you're paying your bill on time. They automatically take it out of the account. But with Quill, Granger, Uline, you need to make sure that that's paid on time, right? Those are net 30 accounts that you just want to make sure that those are paid before that 30-day mark, so that you can have great credit. And that's the difference between personal and business credit. Personal credit, you can be 30 days late before it's negative. Like if you're 30 days late, then that's when they report on the personal side. On the business side, you can't be 1 day late. That's going to be negative, and that's going to affect your credit. So make sure that you remember that.
All right. Again, guys, I got the number on the screen. If you text to this number, Vested in Milwaukee, Coach is willing to give you a free one-on-one. And I urge everybody, and one of the things about Vested in Milwaukee is I want to empower people with everything. We're talking the Constitution. We're talking how important local government is. We're talking finance. We're going to be talking health in a minute. We want to give you the knowledge that you need, that you can survive, you can live. We're going to talk about growing your own food. All of these important things that's going to help your life. But I want to bring back also, what advice can you give? Because I know you probably got some clients in this industry, food trucks. So those with food trucks, or those who thinking about opening up a food truck, what would you say to them?
Well, it's similar. It's always what the goal is, because sometimes, Dr. King, we think we like something, or maybe we do like it. But my pastor, one of my great friends and pastor, Dr. Piles, he always say this: you just bought a hobby. Okay. So what I'm saying to you guys is make sure that this is what you want to do and that it makes sense. Because I had a couple people that got into the food truck industry that's still doing it, but not doing it like they thought they would. It became a hobby. It's not making the kind of money that can make that can retire them, or that they can just focus solely on the food truck. Now, if this is really what you like any business, I think a person needs to like that business. They need to, really like it. They like the business, then a food truck make all kind of sense, because you're gonna work that food truck. But I don't like food trucks, me personally, in Milwaukee, because of the weather, right? Because with food trucks, you only can really make good money, according to the weather, unless your stuff is the best in the world anyway. Or if you are in Milwaukee, just make sure you get the license where you can travel around to different states. What's the plan? That's the main thing. What's the plan? Is it going to make the money, and how much money do you want to make? And can that food truck make that money?
Oh, yes. And, I'm so glad that you keep saying plan, and what's the plan? What's the plan? Because here's the thing, we say it this way: either you got a business, or a hobby, or debt. Those are the only three choices you got. You either you got a debt, it's a debt because you got to pay it off, or it's like you said, it's a hobby, or you actually has a business that's prospering and making money. And so, so when I look at certain things and people tell me, well, I want to do this, and I'd be like, why? Or what makes your business so unique that people don't want to come to you? And so when, so I try to help them see. I did a course on, I taught a class off of Genesis 1:28, and how to grow a business off of the scripture, Genesis 1:28. And so I tell people, if you don't have anything unique, if like you had a barbershop, but in that barbershop you were selling stuff. So, your barbershop was unique because I can do two things at one time, right? Yeah. I used to have some clients that used to braid hair. And I said, I tell you what, why don't you look at this building, get this building, you can sell the hair and have booth on the side where you can take walk-ins or have appointments, and you'll be the first one who's buying your own product from yourself to do your client's hair. And your clients can come in and just buy the hair and say, well, I don't know really how to do my hair. And they say, oh, we got some over here. They'll do your hair for you right now. So, you got to be unique, and you got to think, like you say, outside the box. Because if you're going into an industry, you want to go in to dominate that industry. You want to go in and take it over. You don't want to just be in the industry. You want to be on top of that industry. And so you want to have your best game forward at all times, because one mistake will mess up how you feed your family. One mistake, you can lose everything. One mistake, I watch people who open up schools lose the school. Why? Because they was buying everybody something. Instead of them, nope, this is not the time to spend. This is time to build. So I know we both got to go, but can you give some final closing nuggets, because I love talking to you, because I start looking at, I'm a business coach and a consultant. I'm start looking at my notes, say, did I do this, or am I doing? So every time I get with you, I get my nuggets. So I'm always a student. So continue to give us those nuggets.
Awesome. So real estate. A lot of people want to be in real estate. One of the nuggets about real estate, if this is what you want to get into, back again, like Dr. King said, it's the plan, right? Because if you want to make 200,000, I think that you should have a number of what you want to do with real estate. In 1 year, I want to make 100, 200, 300. That dictates the path of what you need to do. Well, I need to sell 4 houses at this price, or I need to buy and sell or buy and hold these many houses to accomplish this goal. I need to buy, fix, refinance, right? Rent it out and then refinance it so I can recoup my money and then go back in. So that is very important, is the plan, okay? And remember, always your personal and your business profile, take at least, 30 minutes a week and work on it, right? Look at it, create some plans based off of what you're going to do. And one of the biggest nuggets is relationships, is banking relationships, right? My uncle used to borrow me money. He charged me more interest than the banks, okay? But I love my uncle, but I build relationships with banks, not just for today, but for tomorrow, because we're going to need some money tomorrow. If you don't need it today, I promise you, you're going to need some tomorrow. And how much you pay for is going to depend on how well you prepare, right? All banks aren't created equal. One bank may say, hey, our cap on a loan is $20,000. One bank might say our cap on loans is $1 million. Our cap on credit cards is $5,000. Our cap on credit cards is $50,000. Do your homework. A minimum of 5 banking relationships is my tip for you today. A minimum of 5 banking relationships.
Yes.
That's it for my tip. Hey, Dr. King, I think that's a great tip.
that is amazing tip. And so you guys, again, let me put the number back up. He's offering his time to you guys. Oh, it's up there. He's offering his time to you guys. This will, I forgot, Coach Moore. This will also go on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the rest of my platforms for the podcast. Is that okay if they also call?
If they put invested in Milwaukee, they're gonna have a consultation. And Dr. King, I don't think we told the audience. I know you edified me great. I just want people to understand that my time is very important. We'll book and schedule that call, but please know that I'm at $600 an hour just to talk on the telephone. That's what I pay myself, right? Because I know where I'm going and what I need to do. So when I talk to you, I'm very direct about what we need to do, because ultimately we need to put you in place so we can access money, so we can move on. And so just make sure you be mindful about that. My time is important. And normally my rate is $600 an hour.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear? This man is a OG of Vested in Milwaukee. He's always been investing in Milwaukee, and he's giving you time that normally costs $600. So you guys want to make sure that you get this in, because especially if you want a business. If you don't want a business, don't waste his time. Don't, because I don't want to look bad, you guys wasting this time because of you don't want something. But if you're serious about your business, and even if you got a business and you need to regroup, this is the perfect time to regroup. You can call him. He'll deal with you on the financial side. You can call me. I can deal with you on the physical side, walking through your business, showing you where you've fallen short or what you might need to revamp. I got a class that's called Leveling Out the House. It is a very powerful class for business owners. You can call me up and we can sit down and I can take you through leveling out the house, because sometimes you are in the wrong place in your own business. So, you can give me a call, 414-676-0842, 414-676-0842. And you can also call Coach Moore, and he will do that for you as well. I want to thank him for his time, for being with us today, all the way in Atlanta. I should have all the way to Atlanta and did the show, so at least I could be in some nice weather and then go home and see my family. But I'm blessed to have you, sir. You got to come back with me. I know your time is valuable, but you're going to have to come back with me. And then when I become mayor, you got to come in, and we got to do something to empower people throughout the whole city of Milwaukee financially, and deal with some of the people that working for the city financially, because they look like they don't know what they're doing. The credit score of Milwaukee have went down, and that means the interest rate is going up. So we gotta come with the answers, and we have the answers to help fix not only individuals, not only a business, but a city. And so I'm grateful for you to be here with me. So I want to say thank you. Say hello to your family, to your beautiful wife, to your beautiful mother-in-law, and tell them I say hi. And any last words?
Yeah, no, Dr. King, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Anytime you want me on the show, I'm invested in Milwaukee, okay? And
Yes.
I know what you do, Dr. King, and you for real about the people. And if you for real about the people, I'm behind you. I'm your soldier behind the people and invested in Milwaukee, okay?
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank y'all for tuning in, for popping on, for Vested in Milwaukee, Kingdom Citizens. Oh, I have to say this to everybody. Kingdom Citizen of Wisconsin, our podcasts are in the top 20 of the best political podcasts in the state of Wisconsin, and we are ranking right now number 10. And we are political. We do politically with the word of God to show you how God designed the kingdom of God to operate even in the political arena. So we're blessed to be number 10. So I'm excited what we're doing. And again, it's always about empowering the people. True leaders empower people. Fake leaders just want the power. We want to empower you. We want to empower your family, your businesses, anything that you're trying to put your hand to do. We want to make sure you're going in the right direction. So again, I thank everybody for watching. I thank my dear friend, Coach Moore, for being with me today. And the rest of you guys, we will talk to y'all soon. Thank you, and God bless.